I'm Suzanne. I am a writer, an author, and a teacher.
And I'm Mychal. I am a sommelier, a tarot reader, and a former ballerina.
Today on All the Woo A to Z, we are on L for love.
All the Woo is a safe space. Just to let you know, for all of these subjects, we're always just sharing our own experiences and knowledge that we have, and we want to share it with you in a non-judgmental way. And at the very least, hopefully you're just entertained.
But also today you might want to grab tissues. So, Mychal, what is the wine that goes with our tears? I mean, our pairing for love.
There is a wine that is called Love You Bunches. It is made by Stolpman Vineyards in California, and I'm choosing their orange wine, which you may ask, what is an orange wine?
Isn't it made with oranges?
It is not made with oranges. It's referring to the color that it takes on. Essentially, it is white wine grapes made in a red wine way, so it takes on more of a rust color. But personally, I really like orange wine, this particular orange wine, because they can get a little bitter at times. This is a more friendly version that I would recommend if you were interested in trying orange wine. This is a good kind of starter.
So it is all the white and all the red grapes hugging each other.
Pretty much. And if you wanted to know specifically what the grapes are here, are Pinot Gris, Tokai Friulano, Gewürztraminer, which I always have fun saying, and Orange Muscat. Okay, Suzanne, what is the definition of love?
I think that's what we're going to be exploring in this entire episode, and also all of the different ways you can love. But I think it's one of those things that you just feel it in your heart. It is both an emotion and an action. It is a declaration and an exploration. It is long-term, short-term, medium-term, eternal term, lots of terms.
All the terms. And I think it's also important to note that it's something that kind of bridges multiple experiences, in that it's both a mental experience, a physical experience on top of it. Like, there's a lot of different ways that you can feel
Love.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the reasons why we opted, or rather I suggested and Mychal agreed to, doing this episode today is because we are both in the anniversaries of losing our great loves in life, which are dogs.
Yeah.
So it's 8 months for me.
2 years for me, almost on the dot of, as we're recording this, it would have been just a couple of days ago.
So that is, I think, one of the forms of love that is becoming more prominent is people and their pets. And whether that is in lieu of children, which I think is the case for me and my husband.
As well as for me. My dog was definitely my child.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the other thing of being kind of, the reason I think why we both feel so sad is because we both had such amazing connections. And one of the parts of love that is maybe dismissed in some ways is that when it changes form, it really hurts.
Yeah.
So in that hurting, though, I think there's a great hidden joy, if you will, and that there's proportional, like the loss is proportional to the joy and the love you experienced. And so that's why it hurts. Because it was this beautiful thing that was very close and touchable, or petable, as the case may be. And then that gap is equally felt.
Well, I think, too, there's something to, especially if we're going to talk about our pets. And I think one of the reasons why we wanted to speak about this, not only because it's kind of an anniversary for the both of us, is that there's also this other element that our animals offer us that is very unconditional in the love that they give. So I think sometimes, for some of us, losing a pet can be sometimes harder than it can be a person, because the presence that they've had, it was always, without judgment, there for you always.
Yeah, they didn't criticize you. They didn't complain. They didn't say, but you don't do it as well as your sister. It's just always, you are the best. I love you. I am so lucky to be here. And when that is gone, it hurts.
Yeah.
So what are some other forms of love we can think of?
Well, I think there's obviously the romantic love that I think majority of people, bring forth, and then also love and friendship, as well as familial love. And I think there's also a love of what you do that can also be included in that, right? Either as a job or a hobby or something that just an action that you really, really undescribably enjoy taking part of. And I think there's also some love that can be produced even through actions of service. I think it can be, I don't know that somebody would outright describe it as love, but really when you kind of get down to the experience of it and the way that it feels, it really kind of opens up your heart in a way that...
And maybe that is the definition of love that we're looking for, is it's something that opens up your heart. It's someone, it's some moment, it's some idea, it's a key to your heart.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would have to say, as an example, with my dog, I remember very specifically there was this one moment when he was a puppy. We had just gotten him, and he was causing so much trouble with eating up furniture and all the things, right? But he was just so cute and adorable, and that none of it was malicious. It was just him being him, that I remember one day just standing there staring at him as he was going to go downstairs, and he had just torn up something that I felt like the Grinch, in the
Yeah, heart grew 3 times.
Yes, my heart grew 3 times, and it was almost kind of painful, but I remember feeling that extreme opening of my heart and loving something in a way that I had not really loved anything before.
I, as you know, fell in love with my dog on the street when she was on the end of someone else's leash. I did not steal my dog.
Let's be clear.
But I knew in that instant that she was my dog. And it kind of, when we were talking about intuition, that for me, it's just like a split second of yes.
Yes.
And it was just that knowing that that's my dog. And through many machinations, she became mine. But yes, I was with a friend, and he was like, you didn't even hold her. And it's like, I don't want to hold her until I know I don't have to let her go. So the way that this is woo, we believe, is because kind of like woo is outside and inside everything, is the macrocosm and the microcosm, is correspondences in all different kinds of ways. Love is like that. It is all time, all space. It's small, it's big, it is omnipresent. It holds up everything. It's in every detail, at least I believe, in the universe. And so it is, in fact, one of the most woo-woo things, because you can be sitting in a room watching a TV show, and if it was made with love, if the characters in it open your heart, then somebody who may have been dead for decades, or a project that maybe wasn't incredibly successful at the box office or whatever, that it feels like it was for you and your heart opens up.
Yeah, I feel like love is transdimensional in a way.
Excellent word.
Yeah, it goes beyond, in like the truest form of metaphysical. It goes beyond and is able to touch and reach corners that so many other things can't, and is something that is universally understood on so many different levels, and at the same time also not understood. I think there's a lot of things that we like to place love as sometimes being conditional, but I honestly feel like real love is truly unconditional in a way, and it is an energy, and if we want to get scientific, it can neither create nor destroy. So once I believe that it is there and it is present, I don't really think that it ever really goes away. It might change its form in some way, but ultimately is always going to be there.
And I think that we interact with it on so many levels. in everything we say and everything we do, and the way that we treat ourselves and the way that we treat the world and the way that obviously we treat each other, but that it's really almost like a lens through which we look at the world. That is love, and maybe part of the process of growth and maturation is the lens just gets bigger.
I would even say, too, that another woo-woo way in which to kind of see this is that a lot of people talk about manifestation and the law of attraction and all of, trying to bring things into your life that you want. And the missing ingredient that often seems to people leave out is not just visualizing it and that kind of thing, but also the feeling of it, and also the feeling of how happy you would be to have that thing, that whatever it is that you want to come into your life. I think that that's really important, and it is a magical component that I think adds intensity and vitality to things. So that's definitely one way that it can absolutely be woo-woo.
And I think one of the other ways is that the second you apply that, it's like whatever it was that you wanted, you have the sensation of having. And so you have moved into that stage where you'll be able to receive it. But that is because you have opened up to it. But I think the tricky part, and I used to see this with writing students, is it's like, okay, I want to write a book and become a bestseller and be able to leave my job. And it's kind of like, okay, so what part of that do you really want? You want to leave your job.
Yeah.
But in order to write a book that will open your heart, that will open someone else's heart, you have to love the writing of the book, not love the being finished with the book.
Although that's great. It can also be a joy in
Yeah,
that you've
absolutely.
completed something,
there's
right?
a victory there, but the idea of you have to love the thing for itself in order to make this opening happen, I think.
Right. And if we want to get very psychological in this too, I'm going to just say for all this that we're not saying that because you love something that then you have to have it in your life in a way that is harmful or anything like that, because that comes into different play.
Yeah, I don't even know that I would consider, I don't know, that love.
Well, I'm just talking about the difference between conditional versus unconditional kind of idea. And just to clarify what I had said before about it being unconditional, that example, I have lost somebody in my life who's very close to me, and we were separated when they passed. That being said, I don't think that I miss them any less because of that separation, because my love had transformed to another way, where it's like I can still love them and want the best for them, and at the same time not necessarily have them be an active part of my life too. That's I guess love can be a very interesting thing in which it can still be there and just change its...
Yeah, absolutely change its form. I mean, and I think we see that like when you're a child, you love your parents as the creators of your world, kind of, and as you mature, they keep sort of shifting and changing in terms of the archetypes that they play in your life. But the love, and also I think the memory of who they were, almost juxtaposed on who you see as everybody ages in that process.
Yeah.
That those things all remain true.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mychal, you mentioned that love is transdimensional, which I think we both agree on, but I also think that you have some maybe very specific examples.
Yes. So we were talking about our pets. I will kind of mention, so my dog's name is Oscar. Oscar Man is how I refer to him. He was a little Cairn Terrier. Not a Yorkie. I was going to say Yorkie. So not a Yorkie. Nothing against Yorkies. It's just that Cairn Terriers, especially him and his personality, he was very boy dog and in so many different ways. But so he had so much personality. And so afterwards, sorry, I'm going to get a little teary. So there's that. But there was a point after he had passed and I was kind of beating myself up, wondering if I could have done something different.
She couldn't have. I was there. She couldn't have.
Yeah, but I think you always wonder and you second guess yourself, and that happens. And so I remember I was just having one of those moments. I remember stopping because I was getting ready for work, right? You go through these times, your life still goes on.
You're still expected to show up places even though you're only half there. Yeah.
So I was there. I was standing in front of the mirror, making sure that I looked okay for the general public.
I was wearing clothes.
Yes. And I was going through this in my mind. And I remember really being able to hear. So when he would get upset when he was alive and frustrated, like I'd tell him to go do something, I swear he spoke English. Because I would tell him to do something and he knew. I could tell that he was not only processing what I was saying, but he would feel some kind of way about it. And when he would get upset, like I told him, like, you can't lick your paws up on the couch. If you're going to do that, you have to do that on the floor. And he would look at me. He'd like look away and then be like huff and then get off the couch and be like, fine. This is his way of like kind of talking back, but showing me like, oh, Mom. And so in this moment, when I was in the mirror thinking about this and giving myself a hard time, I swore I heard him behind me do his huff.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that as more like, stop it. Like, Mom, stop.
And I will just say, as having been around at the time, there were several times where it was just like hearing his reaction of, go easy on yourself. You did everything you could. Like, Mom, I love you. Stop this. And so I think the other thing is that now he can travel with you anywhere.
Yeah, this is true. It was actually kind of a thing that I have felt. I still feel him around regularly. I kind of see that I feel at times that he comes and visits me. And then when I go and I travel, I feel like he's able to come with me in a way that he wasn't able to before. Sorry, I'm all teary.
Hey, it's the price of love.
Yeah, true. Hurts so good, right?
So thank y'all for sitting with us in this little bit weepy, but
Definitely more somber.
I hope you can feel our hearts and that they are open to you, and we hope that you are able to open to love a little bit more, just like all of us should be every day. So our next episode, which probably will have no tears, is going to be M for Moonology, which I'm super excited about because that is kind of my jam. So we will see you then on All the Woo A to Z.